Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, August 5th, 4:43 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state still in an uptrend since those follow-through days. If we take a look, trend gauge over here on the right side of the screen. Market leaders still in grow mode. They fired back yesterday and today. Some a little bit mild weakness while others showed some strength. So kind of 50-50 across the board is evident in the final numbers from the T12 and the 21 over 21 list. Short term, still above the 21 EMA, closed just right above it. So reclaimed it yesterday, came back in and retested it today and closed slightly above. So going to be watching that in the next coming days for that to hold. Medium term above the 50-day moving average, and long term above the 200-day moving average. And what happened today? Small cap showing some nice relative strength. IWM bounced right off the 200-day moving average, and it looks like a golden cross is going to be coming soon. That's when the 50-day gets back above the 200-day moving average. And positioning wise for small caps are very negative and short. So could see some outperformance there in the coming days. And then some rate sensitive sectors as well, like home builders, real estate, and the S&P holds the 21 just by a hair. All right, final numbers. 21 over 21 list was down 0.13%. 4 green, 17 red. Palantir, the highlight of the day, up 8% on earnings. Turbo 12 up 0.18%. 2 green, 10 red. SYM was the big contributor there, and that was up 11% today. And it looks like it's kind of front running earnings as it reports this week. Big 8 was down 0.7%. RG8 was down 0.47%. S&P was down about a 0.5%. Equal 8 down 0.28. Q's down 0.68%, Equate down 0.93%, Dow Jones down 0.15%, midcaps down 0.05%, Russ 2000, the highlight of the day, up 0.52%, 60/40 stock and bond down 0.16%, GROTECTION up or down 0.11%, and TurboTection down 0.37% on the day. Let's get into the interest correlation. And we'll start with chart the S&P 500. And as you can see, closed right on the 21, 20 bips above. And kind of what Don mentioned yesterday is, uh, Friday, the slows held, gapped up on Monday, uh, reclaimed the 21. And what we're kind of watching is this declining 8-day going to act as resistance? And it did today, kind of putting the high within the first 20, 25 minutes, retest the 21, held, rallied back up, and then closed mid-range right at the 21. So pretty key level to watch moving forward. And if that breaks, right, you got the 50-day moving average. That one's at 61.48, and that coincides right with the 61.47, which is this previous breakout level on the S&P 500. And then you also a little bit lower is the 10-week moving average at 61.88. So level by level, August is historically a little bit choppy, so I would not be surprised if the index is ping pong around these levels, these moving averages before uh, decisively picking a direction. But for now, low Friday's lows are critical, along with Mondays and the 21. RSP getting rejected right at that declining 8 and 21 day, after rejecting these highs at 188.16. Qs, similar thing, gap up and reversal, closed right at the 21. That declining 8 EMA is going to acting as resistance for now. And again, some levels of interest, 550 psychological level, which coincides with the low right here, 50-day moving average, and then this 540 previous kind of big base breakout level too. So some spots to watch if the market comes and tests those. Mag 7 just consolidating, closed right at the 8, still above the 21. Dow Jones getting rejected at the 8 and 21 as well. Mid caps, undercut and reclaim of the 200-day, and then got a tight range here under the 8 and 21. Russ 2000, some really nice relative strength today, looking to trigger that golden cross. And the positioning on small caps continues to be super depressed. And one thing that could take place is the Fed Watch tool is saying 90% odds of a cut in September. So potentially small caps front run that, and positioning is low, showing some relative strength the last few days. So definitely keep an eye on small caps here. ARC getting rejected at the 21 as well, 8 and 21 rolling over. FFTY sitting at the highs, so leaders are doing all right. The VIX popping back up a little bit today at still under 18. Watch that 20 level as risk on, risk off. But the ATR, the S&P 500 is getting bigger. The dollar, broke this big downtrend line from the highs, kind of followed through, rejected this 100 spot, and then coming back in now. Gold, big base, range bound, see if it wants to pick a direction. GDX down there, and gold miners are breaking out super strong. You got, I believe, KGC. Yeah, this was a really, really nice breakout this week. So some of the miners are doing quite well, and even some of the silver miners, Pan American Silver, nice undercut and reclaim of the 50-day moving average as well. That coincides with silver finding support off the rising 50-day moving average and reclaiming the 8 and 21. Bitcoin, really the 63.70 is the key level to watch, along with the 50-day at 62.90. That level needs to hold. That was the top, that was basically the base breakout, and now it's coming back in. So we'll see, the 60-minute stochastic's pretty oversold. So we'll see what it picks direction later this week. Bonds continuing higher, coming back up nicely. TLT as well, coming into the 200-day. And that coincides with rates moving lower. TYX and TNX starting to break down a little bit. All right, that's the interest correlation. Take a look, tally the tape. News-wise, the initial sell-off came on the weak ISM numbers at 10 a.m. The market was up a little bit, trending higher for the first 30 minutes of the session, and then the ISM numbers came in, and July ISM services came in at 50.1% versus 51.51.5% consensus. Prior was 50.8%, and basically registered on the brink of contraction. And this included a faster increase in price index and a faster contraction in the employment index, and the combination of which has stoked some stagflation concerns, and especially when combined with last week's soft payrolls report. So market didn't like that a bunch, and that's kind of what fueled the market to move lower after the first 30 minutes of the session. Day count down 1 day below the 8 EMA, 2 days above the 21 EMA. Oh, today's keys as well. Sorry. S&P closed above the 21, but below the 8. Same with the Qs. Russell above the 21 and the 50-day, and then Palantir with a positive earnings reaction. Then going into Wednesday, S&P and Qs saying the same, along with the Russell 2000 as well. Sectors wise, more so commodities and some of the rate sensitive sectors that I mentioned: silver, uranium, oil, home builders, real estate, and then weakness, cybersecurity, Bitcoin, software, semiconductors, financials, and biotech. GROTECTION today bought SSO and Reddit, and then added on to Palantir on that positive earnings reaction. 1.23 beta, 4.93% open heat. TurboTaction, no changes again today. 1.26 beta, 3.3% open heat. Bottom line, S&P and QQQ sit at 21 EMA. Small caps plus rate sensitive sectors show some relative strength. All right, let's get into some charts of interest. GROTECTION trades. Bought SSO on the bounce of the 21 on the pullback there. And then GROTECTION also took a starter and Reddit. Super powerful earnings reaction. Day 2 higher high. Did have a day 3 higher high. And then kind of came back in with the market. So Gro took a starter there. This is on Turbo's radar as well. It's monster earnings, super strong volume, and starting to pull back a little bit. So maybe providing an opportunity. And then Palantir as well, GROTECTION added here. Great earnings reaction, great earnings again. Closed the day up 7.85%. Good volume as well. So see if this one can continue higher. And if Palantir is gapping up on earnings, that's good for the AI trade, the AI stocks, and you know what they say, the messy of AI. And then TurboTaction, no trades today. 21 over 21 list. Palantir, discuss that. Rocket continues to be strong coming out of this nice base, and some of these mortgage names and home builders have been acting quite well. So definitely seeing some money flow into these areas of the market. MP owned in both portfolios, super strong action, up almost 5% on the day, and another new high. This one reports in 2 days as well, looking like we will have cushion to hold into the report. And we'll have to see what the implied move is. GDX discussed this. DraftKings get tightening up here, and some of the casino gambling related stocks. Flutter looks good as well, along with DraftKings. RSI is another one that reported earnings gapped up quite nicely, and LVS as well. So perhaps these are getting bid up into the NFL season. Cloudflare continue riding higher at the profit zone, so perhaps it digests a little, but APH continued higher, nice trend here. Hood starting to consolidate, form a base here. This again had good earnings gap down, got bought back up. So again, perhaps this starts to build out a base for potential spot to add on to this one. Nvidia getting tight at the highs, nothing bearish about that. DoorDash kind of broke out of the space here and then just tight day on low volume, pulling back in. SoFi pretty volatile after this earnings reaction. Hit 25, came back in and tapped lower 20s and then bounced again off to 21. So perhaps this just needs a little bit more time to cool off, consolidate. But really nice chart, tons of relative strength, just been choppy here the last couple of days. Reddit discussed this. AMD, this one is down 3% on earnings. They had a pretty good report. The numbers were, and it bounced right off the 21 in the after hours. So see if this one, sometimes dips into moving averages for stocks and an uptrend on earnings can be a good opportunity. They beat on sales. The EPS were in line with estimates. Their data center sales were at 14% year over year. And yeah, so this one could be an opportunity tomorrow. Just depends on the price action. But again, this one hasn't really been given many spots once it got back above the 200-day. It's been a nice trend and starting to play some catch up to NVIDIA. A-Lab, really nice report here. This one's up 7% on the day we own, or after hours, sorry, we own this in TurboTax. They had quite a nice report. EPS was up 238% year over year. Revenues up 150% year over year. EPS 33% quarter over quarter, and the revenue up 20% quarter over quarter. And this was into new highs, new all-time highs. It briefly tapped 157 after hours, and I see it's at 145 now. So see what tomorrow brings. 147 is that previous all-time highs, but really nice report, and so far it's acting good. ANET, this is another one, a really good report, up 13% after hours, and seen some good beats across the board. GEV, tight day consolidating at the highs after that earnings gap, no give back whatsoever. STX getting volatile as well, like SoFi, gap down on earnings. Fund support at the 50-day, which coincided with the 10-week moving average, shot back up and now coming back into the 21-day. So to me, this just signals potentially this just needs to, you know, maybe shake out some more traders, consolidate, form a new base, as the stock has had a pretty big run off the lows. VST closing above that 200 level, continuing higher. Carvana, after that gap into 400, sharp 3-day pullback right into the 21, see if it can find support. CRDO, pulling back today, but again, looks healthy. And then APP, this one reports in one day, got a power of 3 here. All the moving averages are extremely coiled up. So see what it does on earnings in the day. Turbo 12, SYM, the big winner today, not waiting for earnings, breaking out of this high tight flag. I like this setup a lot, but into earnings, you know, wasn't probable for enough cushion, but the market said no, as this is up, 20% in 2 days. SEDG's getting tight right at 21. Solar stocks are acting pretty well. SAN, nice earnings continuation pattern here. AMSC continuing higher. Again, after this really nice earnings. HNGE, they reported earnings today after hours. Looks like it's up 3%. Very choppy, but IPO base. Kratos Defense pulling back today, but again, starting to form another base here at the highs. TSSI earnings coming up. Got a downtrend line here. VIK continued higher, minimal volatility. AVAV pulling back right to the 21. SMCI is getting kind of crushed after hours, down 13.5%. Doesn't look like it was that great of a report. And this one is all the way back, right at the 50-day moving average, slightly above. Sezzle forming a nice tight base here with the moving averages all coiled up, earnings in 2 days. And then Galaxy did earnings this morning, closed the day down 4%. Overall, looks all right. Just, as long as it holds above this previous IPO base highs. That's Turbo 12. LEU was another one that was reporting after hours. Oh, this Turbo. Nice to see this one's up 6%. So that's a good reaction. Haven't had a chance to dive into the earnings reactions or the earnings report, but we'll have to see. And then some other ones I didn't cover. Let's see. Upstart. This one's getting hit. This one's down 8% on earnings. And then I saw Rivian. Rivian, we're not even watching this, but down 3%. I saw that on the earnings calendar. And some other ones from this morning, Axon closed the day up 16%. And just what an awesome company. This one just typically has stellar earnings, as you can see. And this one gapped up, closed near the highs of the day. And some other good ones, BWXT, one of the leaders in the power generation sector, closed the day up 17%, a little bit short term extended, but really positive reaction. And then Lemonade was another big one. This one tends to have a high short interest, and when this one gaps up, this one, can squeeze pretty hard. This one closed the day up 30% on 441% above average volume. So all in all, pretty solid earnings reactions from some of the leaders. Obviously, not everyone's going to be great, like Coinbase last week, which Turbo owned into earnings, gap below the 50-day, and it's making another new low today, down 6.34%. So all in all, though, on balance, pretty positive reaction so far from the big liquid leaders, and we'll see if that continues. A bunch more earnings later this week, so that it's always interesting time to see what they say in the conference calls. But for now, that's where our thoughts stand. And circling back to chart the S&P 500, really watching these levels, the 21-day, the 50-day, 61.47, previous all-time high. And so we'll just take it day by day and see how the market reacts into the end of the week. So um, that is going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. My email is connor@revereasset.com. You can reach out to me on Twitter at ConnorJBates_. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client of our two strategies, GROTECTION or TurboTection, please reach out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like, subscribe, comment, and see you guys tomorrow.